The storm outside had been rumbling for hours, casting long shadows across the tiny downtown restaurant where Hannah wiped tables for minimum wage. She was used to long nights, rude customers, and a hollow ache of going home with barely enough tips to buy groceries. But nothing prepared her for the night. A shivering man with frostbitten fingers pushed open the door, carrying the scent of rain and despair with him. People stared. Some wrinkled their noses. Others pretended not to see him at all. But Hannah noticed everything. The way his clothes clung to him, soaked. The way his shoulders curled inward as if trying to disappear. The way he scanned the empty tables like someone seeking permission just to exist. "Sir," she whispered gently, "you can sit anywhere." He hesitated, almost embarrassed to take up space, before slipping into the corner booth. His eyes drifted to the menu, but it was clear he wasn't reading. He was calculating, deciding what he could ask for when he had nothing. Hannah didn't wait. She brought him a steaming bowl of soup, fresh bread, and the warmest smile she could muster. "It's on me," she said. The man blinked hard, the way someone does when kindness hits them like a punch to the chest. "Thank you," he murmured, voice cracking. "You have no idea what this means." She didn't. Not yet. As he ate, slowly, gratefully, Hannah noticed something strange. The man wasn't like the others she'd helped before. There was a steadiness in his gaze, a flicker of intelligence behind the exhaustion, like someone who had once lived a very different life. When he finished, he stood and bowed his head slightly. "I can't pay you," he admitted, "but I promise this kindness won't be forgotten." It sounded like a vow. Hannah worked the rest of her shift without thinking much of it. She'd fed hungry people before. She'd offered what she could. Nothing ever came of it. But 2 days later, everything changed. The restaurant was buzzing when a sleek black car rolled to a stop outside. The type of car that didn't belong anywhere near their side of town. 2 men in dark suits stepped in first, scanning the room with sharp, hawk-like eyes. Then he walked in, the same man, but not homeless, not broken, not shivering. His beard was trimmed, his posture straight, his clothes immaculate, tailored, expensive, the kind worn by people who own buildings, not slept beside them. His transformation was so striking that for a moment Hannah didn't recognize him, until he smiled. "You kept your promise," she whispered, stunned. "I did," he replied softly, "and now it's time to keep mine." She glanced around nervously as her manager approached, looking both confused and intimidated. Everyone stared. You could have heard a pin drop. The man reached into his coat, pulled out a simple envelope, and placed it in Hannah's trembling hands. She hesitated before opening it and gasped. Inside was a check, a number she had never seen in her life, more than she could earn in 10 years. "I don't understand," she stammered. "You will," he said, "but this is just the beginning." Hannah felt her knees weaken. Who are you?" He took a slow breath, eyes glinting with something that looked a lot like sorrow. "My name is Adrian Lorne," he said, "and until recently, I was one of the richest men in the city." Her heart thudded, but he wasn't finished. "I lost everything," he continued. "Not my money, but something far more important. And the night you fed me, I thought humanity had finally abandoned me." His voice shook, "But then you showed me otherwise." Hannah felt tears burning behind her eyes. She'd just given him food, nothing more. How could that change something so big? Adrian looked around the restaurant before lowering his voice. "There's something you need to know, something dangerous, and it concerns you now." Her breath caught. "Me?" He nodded. "Someone followed me here that night," he said quietly, "and they've been watching you ever since." The envelope trembled in her hand as her mind raced. "Why? Why would anyone watch me?" she whispered. Adrian leaned closer, voice barely above a whisper. "Because they think you know something about me. Something they're willing to do anything to find out." Hannah froze. The restaurant suddenly felt colder. "Adrian," she whispered, "what did you get me into?" He glanced toward the windows where a dark figure stood across the street, unmoving, staring straight at them. "That," he said, jaw tightening, "is what I'm here to explain." And then, just as Hannah exhaled, the figure took a step forward and reached inside his coat. Hannah's breath snagged in her throat as the figure's hand disappeared inside his coat. Her pulse thundered in her ears, drowning out the clatter of dishes and chatter of customers. Adrian's fingers subtly brushed her wrist, a silent warning to stay still. The restaurant lights flickered as the door chimed. A gust of cold wind swept in, but the man outside didn't enter. Instead, he paused at the threshold, his face hidden beneath the brim of a dark cap. His hand hovered inside his coat, and every second he didn't reveal what he was reaching for, only tightened the coil inside Hannah's chest. Adrian stepped slightly in front of her, posture relaxed, but Hannah sensed the tension locked inside him like a coiled spring. The suited men who had accompanied him earlier moved to flank the entrance discreetly, their hands folded in front of them, but their eyes were sharp, calculating, waiting for the slightest sign. Finally, the figure withdrew his hand. A folded newspaper. Hannah exhaled shakily, gripping the counter for balance. The man stepped forward, tossed the newspaper into the trash bin beside the door, and walked away without a word. No gun, no threat, just a newspaper. But Adrian's jaw tightened even more. That wasn't random, he said under his breath. Hannah looked at him, confused. It was just a newspaper. Adrian shook his head, his expression grim. They're telling me they can get close, that they can walk right up to the door if they want to. Her stomach clenched. Who are they, Adrian? He hesitated, eyes flickering with something dark and painful, like a memory he wasn't ready to revisit, but had no choice but to confront. We should talk somewhere else, he murmured. Not here. Before she could respond, her manager stormed over, face red with anger. Hannah, what is going on? He snapped. You're scaring customers. And who are these men? What kind of circus are you bringing into my restaurant? Hannah opened her mouth, but Adrian stepped in smoothly. My apologies, he said with calm, disarming smile. I was merely thanking your employee for her kindness the other night. We'll be leaving now. Her manager's eyes flicked to the envelope still in Hannah's hand. Suspicion settled on his face like dust. Fine, he muttered. But whatever this is, Hannah, you better get it under control. She swallowed hard and nodded. Adrian motioned toward the door, one of his men holding it open. As Hannah stepped outside, the cold air slapped her cheeks, making her shiver. The street was mostly empty, the earlier tension lingering like fog. Adrian led her to the sleek black car, but before she entered, she pulled her hand away. Adrian, she said, voice steady despite her racing heart. I need answers. Now. He studied her for a moment, then nodded. You will have them. They slipped into the car, the interior warm and smelling faintly of leather. As the door shut, the city noise softened, leaving only the hum of the engine and Hannah's ragged breathing. The car pulled away from the curb, and Adrian finally spoke. My real story, he began, didn't start the night you gave me food. It started months before that, when I became the target of the people who took everything from me. His eyes drifted to the window, watching the city blur past. I wasn't homeless because I was poor, he continued. I was homeless because I was hiding. Hannah stared at him, mind spinning. Hiding from who? A group called the Peregrine Circle, he said. Investors, politicians, tech giants, people who wear respectability like a mask. I exposed them. Or I tried to. Her breath caught. Expose them for what? Adrian turned to her slowly, his voice a low, chilling whisper. For running a covert operation that launders money through humanitarian foundations. Billions. And anyone who discovers the truth disappears. Hannah's skin prickled. Why would they target you? Because I had proof, he said. Proof that could destroy them. I tried to leak it, but they were faster. They flipped my board, froze my assets, tarnished my name. Overnight, I went from CEO to fugitive. He rubbed the back of his neck, tension radiating from him. I had no one left. Every friend I ever trusted suddenly had a price. So I did the only thing I could. I vanished. Hannah blinked. Into homelessness. It was the only place they wouldn't look. I moved from shelter to shelter, city to city. But eventually they tracked me down again, forcing me to run with nothing but the clothes on my back. Her heart hammered. The night She fed him. That meant they were hunting you even then, she whispered. He nodded. And when you showed me kindness, they assumed you were connected to me. But I'm not, she protested. I just gave you food. That's enough for them, Adrian said quietly. They think I might have trusted you with something, or that I might do so now. The realization hit her like a blow. So, they're watching me, she said faintly. Yes, because of you. I'm sorry. His voice cracked. I should never have gone into that restaurant. You didn't deserve this. Silence filled the space, heavy and trembling. The car turned into a quieter part of town, lined with old brick buildings and flickering street lamps. Adrian gestured to his driver, who pulled into an underground parking garage beneath an apartment complex. We'll be safe here, Adrian said softly. For now. The elevator ride to the top floor felt endless. Hannah's thoughts spiraled. Her small life, her minimum wage job, her quiet routine, all shattered by a single act of kindness. The door to Adrian's penthouse opened with a soft beep. The space was luxurious, modern, yet strangely empty, as if untouched for years. Hannah stepped inside hesitantly. Adrian locked the door behind them. She turned sharply. What now? He approached a sleek desk in the corner, pressed a hidden panel, and a compartment slid open, revealing a small hard drive. This, he said, holding it gently as if it were something fragile, is what they want. My last copy. Hannah stared at it. Why show me this? Because, he said, stepping closer, they won't stop. Not until they find it. Or until they believe I've given it to someone. Her breath hitched. Adrian, don't you dare say. His voice softened painfully. I need someone I can trust. Her throat tightened. But I'm just a waitress. I'm not built for whatever this is. He looked at her with steady eyes. You're the only person who helped me without wanting anything in return. That means more than you think. Hannah shook her head, fear and confusion twisting inside her. I don't know if I can do this. You can, he murmured, and I'll protect you, with everything I have left. Before she could respond, a sudden, sharp beep echoed from the security panel on the wall. Adrian's head snapped toward it. Someone had triggered the perimeter alarm. He moved fast, too fast, grabbing Hannah by the arm, pulling her toward the back hallway. Adrian, what's happening? She cried. He didn't answer, because footsteps, heavy, purposeful, were already echoing outside the door. The footsteps outside the penthouse door grew heavier, each thud sending tremors through Hannah's chest. Adrian guided her down the dark hallway, his hand firm but trembling, betraying the fear he tried so hard to hide. Behind them, the electronic lock on the front door beeped. Once, twice, then a sharp metallic click echoed like thunder. They were inside. The hallway stretched into shadows, lit only by faint strips of emergency lighting along the floor. The walls hummed with the vibration of the intruders moving room to room, their movements precise and unhurried. These weren't petty criminals. These were professionals, hunters trained to extract, erase, and vanish without leaving so much as a footprint behind. Adrian pulled Hannah close. Stay quiet, he whispered. Whatever happens, don't let go of my hand. But even in the darkness, she saw the fear in his eyes. Fear for her, not for himself. They slipped into a narrow service stairwell. Adrian shut the door silently behind them. The world instantly fell into stillness. The stairwell smelled faintly of dust and cold concrete. Far below, she could hear the city's nighttime heartbeat, engines, wind, distant music. But up here, danger had a pulse of its own. What do they want from you exactly? Hannah whispered, clutching the hard drive he had given her. Adrian inhaled deeply. Not from me, he replied. From anyone brave enough to expose them. That drive you're holding, it contains evidence of every lie they built their empire on. If it reaches the right hands, their entire network collapses. Her fingers tightened around the metal device. Then we need protected. A faint smile flickered on his face, gentle, proud, and worried all at once. I knew you would say that. Without warning, the stairwell door above them slammed open. Heavy boots pounded down the steps. Adrian cursed under his breath. They're tracking movement. We need to lose them. He pulled her down the stairs, 2 steps at a time, their shadows dancing wildly along the walls. The footsteps above grew louder, closer, sharper. One wrong turn, and they were done. They reached the 32nd floor landing, just as a flashlight beam sliced through the stairwell above them. "Hannah," Adrian said urgently, "listen to me. If they catch us together, they'll assume you're the one holding the drive." "But I am," she hissed. He shook his head. "That's exactly why I need to fix this." And in one swift motion, before she understood what was happening, he took the hard drive from her hand and slipped it into his jacket. "What are you doing?" she whispered. He placed a hand against her cheek. "Saving your life." Before she could respond, he pressed the hallway door open and stepped out, alone. Hannah's breath stopped in her chest. "Adrian!" He didn't look back. Instead, he gave her a soft smile, a smile that carried regret, hope, and something deeper she couldn't name. The door clicked shut between them. Hannah's legs moved on instinct. She darted down the next flight of stairs, heart pounding, mind screaming. She didn't know where she was going, only that she would not let him face danger alone. Not after everything he had endured, not after everything he had done for her. But when she reached the next landing, a sharp voice halted her. "Stop." It was one of Adrian's own security guards, large, stern-faced, but with eyes full of urgency, not threat. "You need to come with me," he said. "No." Hannah snarled, surprising them both. "Adrian is out there. He needs help." The guard shook his head. "He gave an order to protect you at all costs. That means getting you out of this building alive." Hannah's throat tightened. "I won't abandon him." "This isn't abandonment," the guard replied, his voice softening. "It's trust." Trust. The word echoed through her chest like a heartbeat. She closed her eyes. For a moment, she remembered the night he sat alone in her restaurant. Broken, cold, hungry. The night she gave him food, not knowing she was feeding a man who had run from a world. A man who had lost everything. A man who had no one left. And now he was risking his life for hers. She opened her eyes and nodded. The guard led her through a labyrinth of hallways until they reached the service elevator. He swiped a card and the doors opened. As they began descending, Hannah's trembling fingers clutched the railing. "What will happen to him?" she whispered. The guard didn't answer immediately. When he finally spoke, his voice was low and honest. He knew the risks. He always has. Her heart sank when the elevator reached the parking level. They made their way to a discreet exit. Outside, the street was quiet, washed in amber light from flickering street lamps. A black SUV waited with its engine running. As they approached, another guard opened the door. But before Hannah could climb in, a thunderous sound cracked through the air. A gunshot. Her entire body froze. "No," she whispered. The guard grabbed her arm. "Get in the car." But Hannah broke free and sprinted toward the sound. She didn't think, didn't hesitate. Her legs moved faster than ever, fueled by terror and something even stronger, loyalty. She rounded the corner of the building just in time to see Adrian stumble backward, a dark stain spreading across his shoulder. One of the intruders lunged at him, but Adrian struck him across the jaw with fierce precision, sending him crashing into a wall. Hannah gasped. Adrian had been trained, not just wealthy or intelligent, but skilled in ways she never imagined. But he was outnumbered. 3 more men advanced on him. "Adrian!" she cried. Her voice made him turn. Just for a moment. Just long enough for one of the intruders to rush him from behind. And "oh!" she screamed. The blow knocked Adrian to his knees. Before the attacker could finish the strike, a gunshot echoed, this time from the parking lot. Adrian's guard had fired, hitting the intruder's arm and sending him reeling. Chaos erupted. The guard surged forward, overpowered the remaining attackers, and dragged them to the ground. Hannah rushed to Adrian's side, her hands trembling as she cupped his face. "You shouldn't have come back," he murmured weakly, though a faint smile tugged his lips. "I told you to run." "I don't run from people I care about," she whispered, tears glistening in her eyes. His breath hitched not from pain, but from emotion. The guards lifted him gently, guiding him toward the SUV. Hannah climbed in beside him, refusing to leave his side. As the car sped away, the city lights streaked past him. Adrian rested his head against the seat, wincing but holding her gaze. "You saved me," he whispered. "You saved me first," she replied. He smiled softly, reaching for her hand. She took it, intertwining her fingers with his. As the city faded behind them, a quiet dawn began to break, the skies shifting from deep indigo to golden rose. The first rays of sunlight bathed the horizon, warm and forgiving. Adrian turned to Hannah, his eyes full of gratitude and something deeper, something unspoken but undeniable. "You know," he murmured, "when I walked into your restaurant that night, I thought my story was ending." She squeezed his hand. "And now?" she asked. He exhaled slowly, the sunrise reflecting in his eyes like hope reborn. "Now," he said, "I think it was just beginning." The SUV rolled toward the horizon as the sun rose higher. Two souls who found each other in the unlikeliest of places, bound by kindness, courage,